tell me a little bit about your Saturday Night Live experience. You were the oldest person to ever host that famous show.
I'm the oldest person to ever do anything. Didn't you know that? Well, I'm such a California type person, and it's such a New York-oriented show. I thought I'd be like a fish out of water because I lived back there. When I first married Alan Ludden, I lived back there for 6 years. But I was always a Californian. You know, it's just a different way of life. And so that's what scared me. And reading the cue cards scared me to death. And I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I loved doing it. But that's why I turned it down, and I almost divorced my agent because he insisted that I do it this time, but I'm glad I did. As far as having children is concerned, I think children should only go where they're really wanted. I don't think you should have a baby because you think you should. And let's face it, I've always been a career girl and show girl, and I know there are so many girls who'll argue with me. Knowing my compulsions, I don't think I could do justice to both a career and a baby. If I got pregnant, of course I would have that baby and love it forever, but not then also try to have a career. I was fortunate. My mother was a housewife and stayed home, and we were so close. But if it's my choice, I choose not to have children because I am interested in so many other things more than children. I love them, but I always like to give them back. I love to play poker. I'm not very good at poker, but I love playing poker. It's great fun, and we laugh and scratch a lot, and we play with the old Goodson Todman game show people. Bob Stewart, it's really his game, and he's the one who created Password and To Tell the Truth and all those wonderful games. So, and we play at Ann Cullen's house. Remember Bill Cullen, a game show host? Well, we play down in Newport Beach at her house. And I fight very hard, and I try very hard, and then I screw up. My dad they'd pick me up at school, and we'd drive up to north of Independence to pack into the Sierras. And he always wore a forest ranger's hat whenever we were on vacation. Well, as a little girl, I wanted to be either a zookeeper or a forest ranger. And in those days, girls couldn't be either one. Well, just this last year, I got invited to Washington, D.C. by the Forest Service to be made an honorary forest ranger. And I was deeply thrilled and deeply honored. And all of a sudden, they presented me with a forest ranger's hat. And all I could see was my dad in that forest ranger's hat. It was like going back 100 years. And so I'm very proud of it, and I will preach Save Our Wilderness as much as I possibly can. I've been in the animal business all my life, since, as I say, since the womb. I just adore them, and I love them, and I've been kind of in the animal business all my life. I have to stay in show business to pay for my animal business. But I think we've come a long way, and I know a lot of the animal activists. I'm not. I'm into animal health and welfare. But I know they say, oh, it's so terrible. There are a lot of terrible things. But animals now have so much higher place in our society than they've ever had before. Hurricane Katrina, we would get reports on not just the people who were so injured, but the animals as well. And we've finally, I think, come to realize what a major part of their life and of our lives and our mental health, what an influence animals are in that department. Not just those of us who are nuts about them, but in so many people's lives. They fill a void.